Welcome to another edition of Dan Frequently Asked Questions, in which we address the questions the divers have about sometimes simple and sometimes complicated issues, or sometimes just physiological or other questions that they need answers to. In this particular edition, we're going to answer, or try and answer, a fairly complicated question by a paramedic about the rescue of someone who was trapped in a submerged vehicle. Keep watching. We got the following question from a paramedic who described the situation in which a driver was stuck or trapped in a vehicle which had sunk to the bottom of a river, and then they had tried to give the individual medical oxygen, but they were unable to do so. And eventually the individual became unconscious, eventually was revived, but unfortunately died 3 days later in hospital. The question that they had was, would or could it have helped if this individual received Entonox rather than 100% oxygen? Well, the quick answer is that if the individual was unable to, for whatever reason, engage with the equipment with which the oxygen was given, then that was probably the primary issue. And the second thing is that Entonox is actually prone to cause increase in bubble formation. In other words, if you breathe Entonox and you have nitrogen bubbles, the bubbles grow more quickly. So depending on how long the individual was trapped, this may actually have made matters worse and have added decompression illness on top of the issue of near drowning. It's a very sad case that you've described, but you've made a very important point, and that is that if a person is trapped in any compressed gas space, and in this case it was a submerged car, they are vulnerable to not only the absorption of nitrogen, but lung overpressure injuries, and if it's long enough, even decompression illness. So please be aware that if you do rescue someone in a submerged vehicle, they need to breathe out on their way to the surface so that they prevent having a lung overpressure injury. Now, communicating that to someone underwater in a very, very panicky and uncontrolled, probably poorly visible situation can be extremely challenging. I tip my hat to you for thinking about how to help individuals such as these, and it's tragic when this occurs. Sorry, can't answer your question with a more positive response, but I'd like to assure you that the fact that you're asking these questions means that you're earnest about wanting to help people in distress. And especially in the days that we are in at the moment, we have an extraordinary appreciation for the emergency medical services, and we would like to encourage you to continue the good work. Until next time, safe diving.